Hey guys, this is Logic with a guide on Mage in 3.1. This build focuses around boss fights, mana management, and throughput of 6-chain damage. With this build, you're able to 6-chain non-stop through an entire boss fight, start to finish, no problem. No need to use mana, magic bomb, or anything like that, and you just straight throughput of damage. So to get into this, let's begin with the skills. We'll use Flame Tactic and Mixed Tactic in this build, because this is what I found to be the most sustained, highest damage out there right now. So I picked up the crit here in the Fire Stance. I did pick up the decreased cast time off Kindle, the cooldown for Incineration, then the reduced cast time of Fiery. Over on Fiery Meteor, we just picked up additional damage. Same with Incan, yeah. Just the damage here. Over in Mixed, we did pick up the damage off swapping stances with your first skill. Not super important, but this is very lackluster over here, so we did pick up this side instead. For Static Charge, you see I do have 2 points in here. This was just total overflow. So I didn't have anywhere to put them, so I put them here. We did pick up the damage on Ice Flame, and then on Fireball we go with damage as well. With Fiery Explosion, it'll be decreased cast time. I don't really see the value in going 30 points deep onto this for 5%. It's not really worth it when I could have picked up damage here or in other places in the build. So I did pick up damage on this Ice Bite, and then on my Spear as well. Over in the non-chain skills, the elemental release is very important. What this allows you to do is choose when to have over 1,000 fire element, which is really important because when you swap stance from Mixed over to Fire, if you have whichever element is up, in this case we obviously swap to Fire, so we're only really worried about fire spells. If you were to swap into stance and you use Magic Bomb, it would not proc this buff. So you would go into Kindle or this one. This build goes into Kindle. You'll get to see how this plays out at the end. So we have this for when to proc our mana buff. For Blink, we did pick up the mana. There's only one situation in the game right now where you do need this for PvE. There's technically two, but it's kind of broken on the third boss of MT right now, so this is not super important. You just go PvE spec or PvP spec and do the second boss of MT where it's required. For Disenchant, we did pick up the damage and then went into decreased cooldown. If we did have the points, I would definitely go with the third one, just because a lot of times I see where there's like 0.8 seconds left on this before I can cast it again, and then I'm already going into my chain because it's not quite off cooldown. So this would be a really good pickup, but right now we don't have enough points for this. For Counterspell, or my last one would be Counterspell, just because a lot of stuff requires it, but no points invested because they're not required. Over in the ability tree, we did pick up Intelligence, Hit, up to Ability Power, and then Acceleration. For the one here, I went with Dungeon Points. Either one is fine. Neither are really important at all, but I went with Dungeon Points. For the rotation, we would start with Disenchant at the beginning of a fight, and then go into Kindle, into Incineration, Fiery Explosion. At this point you would swap stance to Mixed, into Ice Flame, into Fireball, into Fiery Explosion. From this point you've just completed your first 6-chain, and right here we would choose to Blink and or use Elemental Release if we noticed that our fire element was not over 1,000. The reason why we would do this is because once we finish this chain here, this is where we're going, we would swap back over to flame tactic, and it would proc that 1,000, or if you didn't have 1,000 element, it would not proc your mana buff when you casted this. But so we would go through static, into frostbite, into spear, into kindle again, and then into incineration and fire explosion. If you are doing this rotation and you did not blink between here and here, you'll notice that this is still on cooldown, in which case you could go kindle into here, and then go kindle into these, because there's going to be a little bit of dead time here, no matter how you split this up. So the most fluid way would be that dash here with the elemental release and or into kindle and down through this chain, and then kindle again down into here. Once we reach this point again, we would swap stance and go back into ice flame, fireball, and then all the way back through, rinse and repeat. You just keep going through it, 6 chaining, no problem. The one thing I would say would be pretty required would be to be with 2 owl runes. Pretty important for hitting. If you have 1 owl rune, you notice that you do miss a lot, and that kind of messes up the whole chain system we got. But with 2 owl runes, even though it says 98.89, it does feel like 100, or actually 99% of the time you land it. I can't really remember a time where I was missing. So picking up those 2 owl runes. These are blue owl runes, by the way. So to show you this in action, I have a video. Alright. So at the start of this video, we're going to notice I did not disenchant, which is fine. I just forgot to do it in this video, and the rest of the videos you'll probably see that I do disenchant at the beginning. Not game changer. This isn't really impossible content. It's pretty easy. But I did choose this boss because it's just a meat shield, and so it gives me the least amount of time to sit there and regenerate mana. I just can non-stop cast, regardless of mechanics. So go to incineration, into fire explosion. We swap stanced on our 3 chain here, and then ice flame into fireball. Here's our fire explosion. So at this point, there's 2 things. I will blink, and then I do notice in this video that I am below 1,000 on my fire element, so I will elemental release to get it over 1,000. And then once I hit Frigid Spear, there is a little bit of a glitch in the game here. If this does not strike the boss in time, like if you cast this and before it hits the target, you swap stance, it actually cancels your chain. So just be cautious of that. Make sure you hear it connect and then swap. Otherwise, it may cancel your chain and you'll start off at 1 again. So here, I'm about to go into fire, and I'll cast my Kindle. If we look at my mana, I'm just missing a little bit of mana here. And once I use this Kindle, boom, it popped way back up and consumed 1,000. And then it's just rinse and repeat from this point on. 6 chain into a dash and then disenchant. And I'll go ahead and let this play out the rest of the way, and then do the clips in a row on the bosses, so you can kind of see how it's playing out on the rest of the bosses and on MT. I'll do MT, but with MT there are some mechanics and stuff, so it is a little different than just beating your face on a boss. So now that boss has died, and I'm at 50% mana throughout the entire fight, and I did count it. I did 7 consecutive 6 chains. I did 1 break in this from my 7th to my 8th chain, doing a 3 combo, and then went 8, 9, 10, 6 chains before it died. So let's see what else we got. Here is the last boss in Mines. Rolling in with full energy on this one. And then for NT, this one's a little broken just because the mage is required to silence and to pick up the ad in our group. Most times the berserker picks up the ad if it's coming from the opposite side, or the only other time someone else silence is if the silence is on cooldown when he does do his ability again. So I'm not sure if this video had it.
This always scares him.
Comes the orb. Got it, I think. Silenced.
Oh shit, hold on.
He crit?
Yep. He has just enough HP.
Where'd it go?
He has fire?
Cool. And then one last video I got for you guys.
I'll just deal with it. Alright, let's go.
Alright, no attack. Oh, fight you.
He's like, you son of a bitch.
I'll stay healing on.
Yeah, just shield if we can.
Nice. He does that second time later. You'll see. I got you. Yeah, that animation. Don't get Oh god.
I'm gonna get you, bitch.
In the poison.
In the poison. Poison.
Poison's gone.
Watch out, watch out, watch out. Yeah, it's
Cool. I hope this guide helps you guys out. If you guys have some other builds you're interested in, let me know. That's all I got for you guys.